All right, everyone. Yeah, time for yet another episode of talking about cartoons again. And this time, there was a little bit of a history going on regarding this. My first draft, I originally thought that at first I thought it would be a good idea to talk about all of the glitch shows, all of them, SMG4, Murder Drones, all of them. However, I realized with the Amazing Digital Circus, there was a lot we could say about this series alone.
Mm-hmm. And to introduce this podcast, welcome to the Amazing Digital Circus.
Welcome to the Amazing Digital Podcast. Yes, this show came from, of course, Glitch, who was responsible for giving us SMG4. Oh, by the way, this goes without saying, and I think we can all agree on this, SMG4 is better than SML. And in its early days, it was always better than SML.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully not. Yeah. Oh, by the way, currently at the moment, I am currently starting on season 6 of the Powerpuff Girls, and I hopefully plan to finish it by this week. So that way, hopefully, sometime sooner, I can definitely get around to making an episode for that one. And I watched practically every episode leading up to the last act. That way I can, if I end up seeing it in theaters, which I did, then yeah, I got around to that. Hence why we're only doing the Amazing Digital Circus for today and not like covering all of the other glitch shows.
Hello.
Hi, Razor.
Hi, Sean. Hi, movie cartoon fanatic.
Yep. Today's episode is the Amazing Digital Circus.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Kane is our is your ringleader, and he's about to show us the most jaw-dropping, heart-stopping, mind-blowing entertainment you've ever seen. Isn't that right, Bubble? That's right, Kane.
Yep. And however, unlike most of the other stuff we covered, much like what we did with the Shrek franchise and soon with the Toy Story franchise, we're going to be going in with each movie, with each episode one by one. Because not
What
only...
is this an indie show?
Yes, because it's only like 9 episodes, so...
Yeah.
And with those 9 episodes, we have a bit more to say about it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Unlike, going by season, listing off. So let me start off with the history of the show.
I first heard about this show back in 2023 when someone posted a community post about Pomni, and I was curious enough to check out the first episode, and I instantly got hooked. Fun fact about this show, by the way, the pilot episode premiered on the exact same day that a certain horse ended up closing their channel.
Right.
And it was around my and it was only about 2 days before my birthday. So yeah, I know about this show pretty much as soon as when it was announced back in 2023. Because I wanted to get. Originally, I was gonna watch Murder Drones, but after the first episode, I kind of didn't end up watching it. So, but with this series, I was probably most likely gonna wait until it actually ended in order for me to catch up on its lore. Because for the most part, with a few minus maybe one or two exceptions, I normally don't tend to watch shows nowadays that are still running because I want to try and watch it watch it after it ended to help me get it to me. So that way, it's much easier for me to work with.
Right.
However, I did know about this show's existence, and however, it wasn't until I knew about the fact that the last episode was going to theaters, and because of that, I had to watch. I decided to watch it in preparation of seeing the last act. Thus, I watched it all throughout May of this year. So yeah, that's practically my history with the Amazing Digital Circus.
Yeah.
What was yours, Razor?
Well, I followed the channel Glitch before it became popular, so to speak, because I was following them because I enjoyed the web series Meta Runner, and then I was seeing this show, and so when it aired, I was already subscribed and I watched it, and each episode, and so yeah. And each episode got more and more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A fun fact about me, however, I actually watched each episode as they premiered on YouTube, starting from episode 2. I didn't watch episode 1 when it premiered live. I watched the first episode afterwards, but yeah, each episode afterwards, I watched them as they premiered.
Yes, and like I said, Glitch was the company who brought us SMG4.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, is way better than SML.
Right.
Well, so yeah, I don't know what was the actual history behind the Amazing Digital Circus as a series regarding its creation, but I do know who was responsible for this series, Gooseworks.
Yeah. Though near the end, Gooseworks got so harassed that she probably doesn't want to work on another digital circus thing ever again, which is understandable. Even though this series is great.
Yeah, we'll talk about that one. We'll be talking about that one.
Force is better.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that. Yeah, we'll be talking about that when we get to the last episode. Because that needs to be addressed. So anyways, why don't we so let's get started with the basic premise of TADC, of course.
So the show revolves around a girl named Pomni, who gets trapped in a digital world along with other prisoners of the game, which is ran by a pair of teeth named Kane, an AI that seems to have insecurities of his own.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and yeah, we'll get started with one of the biggest pieces of this show, the animation.
It's very good in this show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can definitely tell that independent animation has definitely evolved, and this is definitely one of the big examples in that department.
Mm-hmm. One aspect that I really do like about this show's animation is the movement of the characters, which is very smooth.
Right.
Yes, because I checked this, and the art style has like a surreal, nostalgic art style blending 1990s and early 2000s low poly computer animation with whimsical and chaotic pop culture aesthetics.
Yeah, that's why it looked familiar yet appealing. Familiar yet...
and when you and the further that you continue to watch the series, the more you can tell that that Gooseworks herself took influence from a specific animated movie that was directed by Richard Williams, that being Raggedy Ann and Andy: A Musical Adventure.
Yes. And as each episode progresses, the animation continues to get better with each episode, especially when it gets dark as hell.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, the more that the series goes on, the more that evolves. Compare when Pomni first gets into the circus. She starts off as a nervous wreck, but as the series goes on, she gets more confident. You can especially see this in the sequence where she goes through the maze in episode 1 compared to episode 8.
Yes. And yeah, and I'm honestly glad that this was allowed to be in theaters, because quite frankly, this actually deserves to be in one.
Yes.
Yes.
What is it with various animated movies that deserve theatrical releases not getting theatrical releases?
Yes. A super offensive movie was allowed to be in theaters in Australia.
I look forward to when Phantom Strider ever gets around to watching that film, so you can tear it apart.
So yeah, definitely, yeah, and you can definitely tell, because currently, as of writing this, it's currently on Netflix at the moment.
And by the way, I know that as we all know, Digital Circus ended up becoming a target for content farms. Although, just as a little reminder to you all, Digital Circus is far from being for kids.
Right.
Yeah.
Granted, it's not like exactly something like Blue Eye Samurai.
It currently has a TV PG rating, but quite frankly, this isn't exactly a kids show. Despite how many kids watch it, yes, because when I went to go see The Amazing Digital Circus, the last act, there were kids in that screening. And you want to know what's even more so is that when I went to go see it, they played trailers for movies like Minions and Monsters, the Moana remake, and Toy Story 5. All kids movies, by the way. And of course, they had a scene of cussing.
Yes. Yes. In episode 8, Zubul says, "Holy shit!" and it wasn't censored.
The shit. The doo-doo.
So yeah.
The poopity
Congratulations to parents who unknowingly took their kids to go see it. Y'all got to hear a cuss word for the first time.
Oh, unrelated, but this game I played Left 4 Dead 2. There are these mods where you can have the characters be Amazing Digital Circus characters.
And this goes without saying, and we should have brought this at the beginning. Yeah, this episode will have spoilers. Because trust me, regarding our series, we do not hold back anything when it comes to Cartoonish Cartooncast episodes, and especially not this one.
Yeah. And one aspect that I really do like about Digital Circus, and we probably also talked about this during one of our last streams. The characters are what drives the show.
And yeah, of course, we can obviously start with our main character herself, the little jester named Pomni.
Basically, she starts off as the Fluttershy type of character.
And note that, Master, she is not boring.
I like that.
But
Nas.
yeah.
But we no disrespect that master. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, yeah. But as the series goes on, she actually does develop.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like when you compare her going through the maze in episode 1 to her going through the maze in episode 8, you can see how far that she had come.
Yes. And even outside, no, she isn't just, just only a shy character. We've seen this in as far back as episode 6. They got all the guns. Basically goes insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like she literally gets mad at Jax in episode 6.
Right.
Hello,
Yeah,
new stuff.
and even then, in episode 2, we start to see more sides to Pomni than just her constant freakouts. Like she basically snaps at Jax when he throws her out of the vehicle.
Yes, as
Mhm.
well as her comforting Gummy Goo, which apparently she has a crush on.
Yeah, although Kane ends up bringing him back in episode 4, and he doesn't remember her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah. And
it finally gets up to the point where she ends up having to say that Kane's adventure stinks in episode 8 to distract Kane from checking up on Kinger.
Right. One character I like, I mean, he's the other character, as Greaseworks said. We'll get to that later.
and of course,
Is Jax. I mean, like, he's an asshole, but like he's the kind that you like. And what's the best part is he gets what he deserves throughout the series.
yeah.
Yeah. Like he gets the like he literally he gets the short end of the stick constantly in episode 4, where Gangle is in charge, and every single time that he does something against her wishes, he gets beaten down mercilessly to the point where he's forced to become all vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or as well as the episode 3 where Jax was pretty much tied up.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Jax is an asshole, but he's the asshole that's both hilarious and that we just love to watch on screen.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, Jax is not even the biggest jerk in this series. The real Jax ended up getting back at ended up beating evil Jax really hard in episode 5.
Right.
Fuck evil Jax. Fuck evil Jax. All my homies hate evil Jax.
Mm-hmm.
He's a pussy and a wimp.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Jax is probably home to some really hilarious quote. Like, democracy sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Accurate.
There's also the sequence where where they go all like, wait, Pomni's not even here. Wasn't this whole thing for her? Be quiet. I can't hear the escalator. And that's there's also Ragatha, whom, just like Jax, has her own insecurities of her own. unlike Jax, Ragatha is able to talk things out so that she could clear her head of any insecurities she has.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Like, we'll get more into Jack as a character later on, especially when we get to the last three episodes, because trust me, they reveal a lot about him.
I actually heard a lot of people say that they don't like Ragatha and consider her to be toxic, but no, she really isn't. I mean, the entire reason as to why she says to everyone that if I'm here, if you want someone to help you, I'm here for you, is because of the fact that she herself went through abuse with her mother.
Right.
And in a world where in Digital Circus, where everyone's practically had bad experiences with pretty much on all accounts, there needs to be a little bit of positivity in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Although it's kind of shame that Ragatha never got her own episode in this series, or at least as far as I know of.
I mean, she did get. Technically, according to Gooseworks, episode 5 was going to be Ragatha's episode, but that was less Ragatha's episode and more of a speed run through adventures. Although we did get that wonderful sequence with Ragatha and Kinger in episode 6.
Yeah, I think now I know why Goosebumps got the inspiration from Raggedy Ann and Andy, because Ragatha really is a rag doll.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And also, she directly quotes one of the songs from Raggedy Ann and Andy: A Musical Adventure. When she was drunk in episode 4, she went all like, "I hurt nothing. I've been hurt enough. Packages landing on my head, tea parties, dancing lessons." And yeah,
Yep.
I also like episode 4. I did really feel sorry for Ragatha throughout that episode.
And now let's get to some of the other fan favorites in this series. And of course, Kinger. Kinger.
Yeah. We find out in episode. We find out in later episodes of the series that he's only able to really stay focused on something whenever he's in the dark. Other than that, but when he's in the light, he ends up acting crazy. But when he's in the dark, he seems like he seems like a great father figure to Pomni and Ragatha, even though he's not related to them.
Right.
Like episode 3 is probably Kinger's episode here.
Mm-hmm. That's the haunted house one, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll get on to the comedy in just a little bit, but Digital Circus is a very funny show.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, especially episode 5.
Yeah. In this episode, when this giant creature ends up screaming in front of Pomni and Kinger, Kinger says, "I'm sorry. Can you speak? Can you say that again? I didn't hear you." Yeah, something that you obviously say when a monster is right in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then we have, of course, Gangle. Gangle, aka yet another clone of the Shy One. Basically, yet Pomni, but in a different sense.
Yeah. Throughout the series, she's basically been the target of Jax. Although she did get back at Jax a little bit in episode 4
by pretty much making him suffer. At working at pretty much McDonald's. I know it's called something else, but I'm calling it McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then there's of course Zubul, who is probably my least favorite member of the TADC.
Zubul's the one with the faces, right?
Honestly, she of the characters in Digital Circus, she really didn't need her own episode, considering the fact that in episode 3 we already find out what her issue is and that she has self-esteem issues.
Yeah, but of all the characters, Child, that also kind of makes her the least developed. At least with every other character, they at least got some sort of development. Whereas Zubul, not a lot. Didn't really get a lot of development. However, then we have the ringleader of it all,
Kane.
One thing is that we'll bring up voice acting in a bit, but Kane, even as far back as the first episode, I always knew that something was up with Kane.
Yeah. Yeah. He also has some of the funniest moments in the series. There's the first episode. Cleanup on aisle U. I'm on it, boss. Why are you like this?
What the boy that? The consequences of our actions.
And it only gets worse from here. It's news to me that it's news to you. To which degree, who answers to who?
Yeah. One of the main things throughout this is that he always sends all of the TADC members through his own adventures. Well, aside from episode 5, because everyone got to choose their own adventure. And of course, Kane is both funny, and that's practically saying a lot. But when we got to episode 7, that was like, okay, this is where everyone starts questioning Kane.
Yes. Though admittedly, episode 7 to me is the weakest episode of the series, but we'll get more on that in a little bit. At the end of the episode, is when they proceed to start snapping at Kane.
Yep. And throughout episode 8, he basically just takes the piss out of torturing pretty much everyone. All because that was where the cracks started to show with Kane.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, and of course, there's this little sidekick Bubble.
Bubble has some of the funniest moments in the series. Made with all the love I'm legally allowed to give.
Oh, by the way, regarding another Kane quote, "You parasite!"
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Venom is going to appreciate being called a parasite.
Yeah. There's also there's also there's also the moment where in episode 2 where Bubble talks about how sticky the candy world is, and we get an implied adult joke. Let's throw them all a fucking beach party.
Yep, and yeah, as we can tell, we love practically most of the characters in this series. Well, minus Zubul.
Yeah, she's the weakest.
Yeah. Although my favorite characters in this show are Pomni, Jax, Ragatha, and Kinger.
Right.
Mine's it will always either be Jax and Pomni. By the way, according to Gooseworks, by the end of the series, Jax is trans. So yeah, and it's also helped well by some really good voice acting that brings these characters to life.
Yeah. Lizzie Freeman voices Pomni, whom previously voiced Chizuru in Rent a Girlfriend, but thanks to her voice acting in this show, she escaped from that show, which good on you, Lizzie Freeman. You deserve much better.
Yeah, that show is a piece of
I just learned
shit.
that Bubble is voiced by Gooseworks, the creator. Not uncommon for it's a case of the creator voicing a character in the show.
And also, Jax is voiced by Michael Kovac, whom previously voiced Angel Dust in the pilot of Has-Been Hotel.
Yes, and then there's of course Kane, who is voiced by Alex Roshan. If you're familiar with him, he has a YouTube channel and has pretty much been known for gaming. For context, he works with a YouTuber named Josh Scorcher. Yes. Oh, and for the record, he was one of like 4 people aside from him and Josh, like because there were like 2 other people who pretty much brought to light the damages caused by Lily Orchard.
Right.
Based.
So congratulations. Kane has my respect just for being anti-Lily Orchard.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, this goes to that. I hope that sister rapist is in prison. Lily Orchard can rot in prison for all I care. Yep. And of course, there's Kinger, who is voiced by Sean Chiplock, who would actually voice Bubsy in Bubsy 4D.
Crazy.
And from what I heard, apparently Bubsy 4D is practically the best Bubsy game. I only recently found out thanks to a review of it. What? And Jax is voiced by Michael Kovac as well. Oh, wait, did we bring him up right? Yes.
Yeah, we brought him up.
Right.
All right, so yeah, that part is most of the voices we know with this series that we're pretty familiar with. So yeah, that's basically what we have for, of course, characters, voice acting, and the plot of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So do we have any other topics we can cover before we get to the episodes themselves?
Oh, there's also the humor, which, to say the very least, is absolutely hilarious. Even what I consider the weakest episode of the series, which is Beach episode, has the sequence with the CGI fish, with one of the fishes being voiced by Zach Hadel. That sequence is so random that it's absolutely comical.
Yep. And there's of course episode 6 also had practically had a goaded ass rendition of Jackson Pomney singing to, you guessed it, Daisy Bell.
Yeah. Which was in 2001 A Space Odyssey, and it was based on a classic song.
Right.
And there's also the aforementioned sequence in episode 3 where Kinger casually talks to the monster that just roared at them.
I'm right in front of you, aren't I? Oh, by the way, once we get to episode 3, insert Viacom of Doom reference. Yeah, like this show has like some. This as you can tell, this show is definitely hilarious.
There's also that random character named Ming that appears in episode 6 that Kane made because making an ass out of you and Ming.
And of course, there's practically anything that comes out of Jackson's mouth.
Democracy sucks.
How any of y'all been familiar with this? Because keep in mind, I only watched the show practically only 2 months, a month back. But yeah, there are plenty of those fan works that exist. Not counting content farms, but
which, by the way, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. The content farms that have been plaguing YouTube kids are basically on par with most adult cartoons that spam shocking content.
In general, I think we just hate content farms in general. No one likes the content farm.
Which, by the way, parents, to those who are letting your kids watch YouTube, don't blame the content creators for your inability to control what your child watches.
And even more so, please stop letting your kids watch Cocomelon or Ryan's World or freaking Pink Fawn. We need to be like, if we were parents, I would never let my kids watch Cocomelon.
I wouldn't let my kids watch it. And there are things that I'm into that I wouldn't let my kids watch because it's just common sense. Like, I'm not going to let them listen to Wasp because Wasp, the band, they have some very vulgar lyrics. Look up their most famous song.
Yeah, like seriously though, seriously though, like I can't even put the word 6 and 7 together without cringing with those memes. So, anyways, that's practically all we have in terms of other topics. Now we can get to the episodes. Every episode this series has, because there's only 9 of them.
Yeah. The first episode, which is literally called Pilot, is a syndrome of first early installment weirdness, but not as hard. Though by default, that makes this one one of the weaker episodes of the series, just because of what later episodes do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is definitely a result of it particularly being lame by comparison. Although that's to say it's bad, because it isn't. Because it does its job in establishing the rules and the rules of this series and its world.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. And even then, this episode still has some pretty very funny moments.
Right. Like when she discovered how the swearing is censored.
Yeah. And also,
Sorry, I need the. Here's the GIF instead. Here's the GIF instead, because I couldn't do my best to imitate that. I couldn't do my best to imitate that. So here's a GIF instead. I would have loved to hear what those words were like uncensored.
Maybe we can later get an uncensored version, but knowing Cruiseworks left the series, yeah.
And of course, this series, of course, introduces the abstractation monster.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Which would base which if you were introduced into this world and that was one of the first things that you see, yeah, of course you'd be paranoid, and that basically makes Pomni become paranoid, as we see in the very next episode that she literally has a nightmare about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, compared to what we say about later, sorry, all right. Compared to what we say about later episodes, this is definitely a good starting point for the series.
Mm-hmm.
It introduced every character, and of course, Pomni wasn't even named Pomni because that was the name that was given to her by proxy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, though, as we find out later, her real life counterpart is actually has a different name than Pomni.
Right.
And as we're about to see in the next couple of episodes, how Pomni is like here is basically drastically different from how we see her in later episodes, especially with episodes 6 and 8.
Yep.
Right.
Well, there's not a lot you can say about the pilot other than it's a good way of introducing the world of the show and how it works.
Mm-hmm.
That leaves us with the second episode of the series, which is
Candy Carrier Chaos.
Yep. This is basically their first adventure on the series. It is an introduced Gummy Goo, obviously. And
yeah,
let's just
there are elements in this episode that that you can tell that Gooseworks took a lot of inspiration from Raggedy Andy and an Andy a musical adventure, specifically with the fudge that we see in this episode. That chocolate monster.
Right.
And there's other things to love here, like if Jack wasn't already a dick in the first one, this one really puts it up there. Like, bro is borderline psychotic.
Yeah, although I think what works in so well in this series is that none of this is real. Kane can just help any member out if they get injured or something. So and Jax very much takes advantage of it. He basically dooms an entire town of people by letting the chocolate monster get into the kingdom, and he throws Pomni outside of the vehicle, causing her to snap.
Right.
Though one of the only issues that I do have with this episode is that this is also an issue that does carry into episode 3. This episode does feel like a bit of a retread of episode 1, where Pomni gets separated from the rest of the group, where she ends up in another out of bounds with the actual adventure.
Although, to be fair, each episode was with a different character. And plus each one at least makes it different enough to the point where even though all three of the first 3 episodes are similar in that department, A, it's with a different character, and B, it's usually a different experience.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't just repeat everything that was done in the first episode.
Though, as we'll soon see, the second half of the series is where things really start getting going.
Right.
Yes. And episode 2 still has like first of all, I think we can all agree that the candy world is visually a treat.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes, it truly is.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, violence.
I am unbelievably disappointed right now. Don't cheer up, Jax. You can. I'm pretty sure that there will be plenty of violence in the next adventure. Ha 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 ha! Wholesome.
Mm-hmm.
I swear, Jax is basically at this point. I might as well get along with Squidward, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Because yep. And yeah, and there's of course Pomni and Gummy Goo trapped in pretty much a digitalized world.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And as we find out, Gummy Goo basically questions his own existence, and that he realizes that he's just an NPC.
Right.
So basically, if Jax basically kills an NPC, realistically, it's not. No one's going to complain about it.
Mm-hmm.
Although, as we find out, we'll soon find out near the end of the series that none of them were actually real this whole time.
Right.
So yeah. And then we move on to the third episode, The Mystery of Mildenhall Manor.
Which I'm just gonna say it. Of the episodes from the first half of the series, though, meaning the first 4 episodes, episode 5 is just kind of in the middle. This one is definitely my favorite of the 4.
Okay, like
I did
I did some screen captioning for this particular episode, and I immediately thought, look at this.
Whoa.
You want to make a Viacom of Doom reference here?
Yeah, what content creators are greeted with when they see Viacom claiming their video.
Viacom. Like I could like Viacom of Doom. Like I've seen plenty of those on the internet.
And like this is and by the way like this is the first episode that we start to see Kinger interact more with Pomni.
And while future episodes would also have this, up to this point, this is probably the darkest episode this series has. It was probably one of those episodes that really utilized the horror aesthetic.
And funnily enough, this episode was released at the right time, as this was released around October of 2024, almost a full year after the pilot, oddly enough.
And when I screen captioned this particular episode, I was like, Jeff the Killer, everyone! You all familiar with that creepypasta?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've seen this stuff, but I haven't read any.
And, of course, I made this joke where Pomni, I was like, welcome to hell!
Welcome to hell, motherfucker!
Like, this an episode and the next 2 episodes definitely screw over Jax for comedy, and it's also hilarious seeing him get what's coming to him. Like this, like as we said earlier, Jax is an asshole character done right. Plus, this is how you write an asshole character who gets their comeuppance, much like, of course, Eric Cartman or Master from Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Yeah, they basically tied Jax up so that he wouldn't be able to do anything.
Right.
Also, take notes, Fairly Odd Parents. This is how you do an eyeballs in the dark sequence. You don't just linger on it for the entire episode.
Right.
Yeah, like, and as someone who's good at haunted house story, this is definitely yet another list on why most haunted house stories tend to be awesome.
Yeah. And up to this point, this episode has one of my favorite sequences in the entire show. And I say up to this point because the second half basically tramples the first half. It's the moment where Pomni and Kinger have a discussion with each other before they hold their breaths and walk through the trap that was set up for them.
Right.
And as this episode established, if King in the dark, he's a lot more serious.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yep. Episode 4 on or as I like to call it, McDonald's. Working at McDonald's.
Mm-hmm. Oh
That-
yeah.
I like this episode as well because it's basically foreshadowing what we're about to get with the second half of the series, but this episode is nowhere near as good as episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like if I'm being honest, this is kind of my least favorite episode of all 9 episodes. This is the one I like the least because I'll be honest, when I first saw the thumbnail and title for this episode, I was like, damn, like I knew for the fact that Glitch was responsible for SMG4, but I never thought they would make one of their own videos, just Mario works at McDonald's, into a digital circus episode.
Though to be fair, with this episode, it's established that Gangle used to work at a fast food restaurant, so it kind of makes sense. Plus, this was a suggested adventure.
Right.
Yeah.
I actually enjoy it for the most part because different animation styles and it's has some legit funny gags, and of course the evil, their counterparts.
Yeah.
Also, we get a hint at a first hint at how Ragatha's character is like, where she ends up getting drunk because of stupid sauce, leading her to say things that she would never say, which is something that that people often do when they're drunk.
Right.
And then there's
Jack's getting scared by Karn.
I mean, Jack's suffering is funny.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, of course, Pomni crushing on Gummy Goo.
Mm-hmm. And this is also the only time in the entire series that we ever see Orbs Man. Apparently he was from a previous adventure, even though I thought that he was going to be more of a main part of this episode.
Right.
Like, as I said, this episode, like said, no. If I ever watch this episode again, I'd be making just a bunch of McDonald's jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, remember when Ronald McDonald used to be the McDonald's mascot?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, like going to McDonald's used to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like fuck McDonald's today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I still remember when they replaced Ronald McDonald with those creepy minion-like McDonald's boxes.
Right.
By the way, McDonald's, you're not slick. You were definitely trying to be like the Minions.
Mm-hmm. I
get that the Minions are a part of pop culture, but you don't need to. But not everyone needs to be like the Minions.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a point in time where they had a McDonald's toy that cussed. Actually, I would rather let kids keep that. Like, if they got a minion toy that bust, that would have been golden. Not gonna lie. I mean, after all, if your kids end up watching TDM and Digital Circus, chances are they might have already would have learned their first curse word. But seriously though, McDonald's fucking sucks ass.
Mm-hmm.
No one likes eating at McDonald's. It's corporate slop.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Gangle. This episode shows that where things could go wrong if you just wear a mask over yourself that suppresses your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, Gangle was very close to abstracting before Pomni basically stopped her.
Right.
And while we're on the topic of this episode, is that really all we need to say about McDonald's? Because McDonald's fucking sucks ass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We might as well move on.
Yeah, but let's move on before I turn this into a rant about McDonald's again.
Right.
And this is where we started getting into peak territory. The 5th episode named Untitled.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. This episode is an absolute blast. And fun fact about this episode, episode 4 was released in December of 2024, and this episode didn't come out until June of 2025.
Right.
And to give you a bit of an idea of how good this episode is basically everyone getting their own adventure.
Right.
Like some of my favorites include Pomni for president.
Right.
Oh, I also love the Jack's safari hunt adventure.
Right.
Yeah.
Where he goes all animalistic. Right. All right. I got the episodes mixed up. This is the one with their evil twins.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, we're hunting the red ribbon rhinoceros. And of course the iconic democracy sucks. Oh, by the way, I know Ethan and his servers already likely watched this one, but this is way better than Craven the Animal Lover.
Right.
Also, it's now canon that there's anime versions of the characters.
Right.
And as someone who's slowly been getting into anime, yep, it's definitely welcoming to see them make an anime reference. Like that, like anime references alone practically get on our good side most of the time. Like,
by the way, during the anime sequence, we also see how Pomni looks like when in anime form, which honestly makes a lot of sense because I've seen a lot of Digital Circus videos online that basically turn the Amazing Digital Circus into an anime from the 1980s.
Oh, but yeah, by the way, it's still a better anime than Rent a Girlfriend.
Right.
Yes.
And of course, this episode has a banger of jokes. Like, we'll be right back after these messages.
Yeah.
And of course, there's of course a neo-noir segment.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And there's also a sequence that takes place at night.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's of course the evil twin.
All my homies hate Evil Jax.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fuck Evil Jax. I hate him. I hope the real Jax murders him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like each episode is basically just a bunch of scenarios suggested by each of the members, and yeah, and each one is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I kind of knew all this time that episode 5 was going to have a sporting match in some way, since we saw a stadium in the preview video back in early 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if these were also ideas from the voice actors, because if that's the case, well, at least I got some Sparkle 7 vibes with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, would it surprise you if that did end up being the case, that a lot of these suggestions were from the voice actors?
Yeah. In my opinion, I like to consider episode 5 as the gateway between the first half and the second half of Digital Circus. The first half being because of the aforementioned Kane sending the characters on adventures, and the second half for the amount of interpersonal struggles between the characters.
Mm-hmm.
And going back to the Pomni president segment, I'm just gonna say it: Pomni would be a better president than our current embarrassment of America.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And this episode, and like movie cartoon fanatic said, there are funny moments, in this episode. One of them, ironically, being with the Pomni president one, where where as soon as Pomni is underneath the desk, she comments about the fact that there's a creepy baby head for a lamp.
Right.
Yep, like episode 5 is
there's also the disappearing guy, where he disappears as soon as he starts singing the Star Spangled Banner. Say.
Mm-hmm.
And also, we find out that Jax is afraid of corn for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, episode 5 is probably the best one so far. But there's that, and it was definitely a great starting point for TADC's second half.
Mm-hmm. Though I consider it more in the middle between the first and the second half, considering the fact that there are 9 episodes.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because the second half is definitely where things really start to show how good this show really is. Because
Mm-hmm.
episode 6 was an absolute banger.
Yes. Yes. This episode solidified my decision to say that this show is great rather than just being good. Because man was this one a ride.
For one thing, this episode was just a lot of fun. Like saying like it's basically Royale.
Mm-hmm.
And battle and of course that means Jax and Pomni end up being together for this one. And it's probably the most unhinged Pomni has ever been.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and this episode could also technically count as both a Jax and Ragatha episode, given the sequences that we see with her and Kinger.
Yeah, and this episode has many memorable moments, such as Jax pretty much spelling out all the character archetypes. Jax is the Ragatha's the cheerful one, Gangle's the sad one, Kinger's the crazy one, Zubal's the grumpy one, and me, I'm the funny one.
Yeah, and we also start getting hints to why Jax acts like this, like the way he does throughout the series. He's still traumatized by what happened between him and Ribbit.
We'll be getting into that later. But yeah, like said, and of course, that's of course the iconic Daisy Bell scene.
Yeah, which they basically sing, basically to antagonize Zubul into coming out of her room. Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer too. I'm not crazy, all for the love of you.
Oh
It
yeah,
won't be a stylish marriage.
this isn't the only cartoon to have referenced Daisy Bell. Like Daisy Bell has been referenced in pop culture quite a few times. Like it wasn't just in the Amazing Digital Circus, but to go off what I remember, it was Futurama referenced it, Sonic Boom referenced it, Sesame Street references, Rugrats referenced it, and Stranger Things, and unfortunately even Cocomelon. I hate that this beautiful song has to now be associated with that piece of shit.
But yeah. The most chilling part of this entire episode is the ending where we see that Jax is on the edge of getting ready to abstract.
And this leads to Pomni's probably at her most pissed off she's ever been. Like, like both let's say like Jax and Pomni's these argument scene was probably a top contender for one of my favorite moments in the series.
Yeah. And it was foreshadowing for what we were about to end up seeing in the next couple of episodes.
Like says it though, Jax was willing to tell Pomni to kill him.
Whoa. Yeah.
And this leads to Pomni going out of her way to basically attack him.
Right.
You're not the funny one. Oh, and by the way, I just love this little some of Pomni's facial expressions in this episode.
Nice.
What happens when Mr. Horse tries to find anyone who disagrees with him?
Right.
And of course, this.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, I was mentioning how this game I play, Left 4 Dead 2, has these mods where the characters get guns. Well, the characters in this episode, like in the game, they use guns, so now it's even more fitting.
Like as I said, this episode's filled with both hilarious moments and it's just practically an action-packed moment, and it's all action-packed throughout. Because, it's like I said, it's content from Battle Royale.
Mm-hmm.
Then, and that leaves us with the next episode, Beach episode.
I personally speaking, I considered this one to be the weakest episode of the entire series, primarily because of what they did at the ending. So, do you remember the SpongeBob episode New Leaf, where they basically tricked the audience into thinking that there would be a status quo change, which everyone knew was going to be the case since SpongeBob is an episodic series? Yeah, they basically do that in the ending of this episode as well, where everything that the characters tried to accomplish was basically pulled out from under all of us, because it was all just an adventure. Meaning that the foreshadowing that we got in episode 5 with Abel was all for nothing.
Although this was also the turning point for everyone to realize that Kane, where they really start to question Kane. So I will say it did in a way sort of influence episodes 8 and 9's narrative structure. So it did have that.
Although to give this episode some credit, even though it is the weakest episode of the entire series, there is some things to like about this episode. Like the aforementioned beach part of the episode, which you can just tell that it basically inspired a lot of fan art. Right. As well as the funny sequence with the CGI fishes.
Mm-hmm.
Those same CGI fishes would later be shown in movie theaters, telling people not to spoil episode 9.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my favorite line from these one of these fishes is, "I'm the one who tells lies." Dude, you ruined it.
I mean,
and making things even better is that one of these fishes is voiced by Zach Hadel.
Why does that name sound familiar?
Otherwise known as the voice of the same guy who was in Smiling Friends, as well, and he's also known as Psychic Pebbles.
Oh, I see.
Oh, and he's also the one who inspired the meme. They hit the Pentagon. They hit the fucking Pentagon.
I remember when those memes were used during a certain someone's review.
Right.
Hey, remember back when everyone thought that Mr. Enter was a huge laughing stock?
But that ended up turning around because of the fact that he had to expose a specific witch.
Right. Bitches be witches.
And back when and also the fact that and also a year later when he admitted all of his mistakes in a video.
Mm-hmm.
I still remember the fact that people thought that Mr. Ender would never come back after his Turning Red video, because most people thought that would have been the final nail in the coffin for his channel.
But he still kept going. Plus, if he did give up after the Turning Red review incident, a specific witch would still basically be on the loose.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. And episode 7. I mean, episode 7 isn't quite as good as the last two that came before it, because the last two came before it were like S tier, whereas this one is like maybe A or B tier. But yeah, and that goes with episode 8, that weird ass I can never say.
Oh yeah. This was definitely the comeback episode. It's the episode where Kane officially snaps.
Mm-hmm.
Kane, and spoiler, I did not watch episode 8 before going into the last act. Like, I knew that if I ended up seeing this in theaters, I chose not to watch episode 8 until I got to the last act. So that way I can watch it with an open, as a new viewer.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing episode 8 in theaters was definitely a treat to behold.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Kane's song is an absolute banger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like
Right.
I'm just gonna say, this is probably an S tier villain song.
Mm-hmm. I know a friend. I have a friend that would like good. Mm-hmm.
Like, and of course, when you know things were going to hit the fan, when Kane actually says the word "goddamn" here.
Ooh,
Yeah.
dang.
So yeah, to those who went to see the last act in theaters and took their kids to go see it, you just learned that your kids learn a new cuss word.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. This is also combined with Zubul being able to say "holy shit" without it being censored.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and their reaction with her reaction is all, it wasn't censored.
Yeah, like, and episode 8 is practically Kane pretty much torturing every member in the circus.
Yeah, and he does this whenever they say something bad about him.
Mm-hmm.
And this leads to everyone questioning Kane and him outright spiraling until he crashed out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, Kane went unhinged at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other aspects about episode 8 worth praising.
Yeah, there's the sequence with Pomni looking at herself in the mirror, which shows how far that the animation has come since the pilot.
Mm-hmm.
As well as the maze sequence, which shows how far that Pomni had come in general.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And yeah, and of course, we keep saying it and we'll keep saying it. And yeah, episode 8 was that I was not watching the show when it was still new, when it was back when all the episodes premiered. But if I did, I would have been downright. I would have like, I want to see episode 9.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure waiting for each episode, all these episodes, was pain.
Well, while I was waiting for episodes to come out, I was working on videos, so I didn't have to wait too long for these episodes to come out.
I mean, I didn't have to wait because like I said, I wasn't watching the show back when new episodes were coming out. I ended up watching it at the last minute to prepare for that finale. Before we talk about the finale, we need to address these fuckers right away. To all the assholes who harassed and death threats to Gooseworks, I have this to say. All this over the leaks, which I actively avoided.
Gooseworks did not deserve that.
Mm-hmm.
When the leaks came out, you guys should have gone after the leaker, not Gooseworks herself.
Yes.
If the authorities could do the same to I'm Still Dissing over the Legend of Aang movie, y'all should have done the same with the leaker. You should have cut the leaker out because Gooseworks did nothing wrong here.
Yeah.
I'll admit that some people could end up finding the finale disappointing, primarily because of what it implies. But but don't go after Gooseworks for it getting leaked.
Like I said, I actively avoided the leak. Anytime I heard a leak, I was like, no, I am not going to click on it. I'm not going to click a video on it. I'm just going to wait until the episode comes out to avoid spoilers.
And even then, you're not even then, it was the Brazilian dub.
Mm-hmm.
I went after a dub that wasn't even in the U.S. country or Australia. What is wrong with you people? Why is it so difficult to not send death threats over a piece of media?
Unless they actually, like somebody involved with it, actually did something morally reprehensible, which that's a whole other loophole.
And another thing too, guys, the Amazing Digital Circus is not the only show from Glitch that exists. Gooseworks has been saying this, and we'll keep on saying it too. The Amazing Digital Circus is done now. You guys can go and support either Knights of Guinevere, Gameoverse, or Gaslight District now,
or really anything that comes out of Glitch, because I'm actually going to plan on watching Knights of Guinevere because they finished the Owl House, so I might as well, support whatever Dana Terrace has because, her show got screwed over.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. There's also Gameoverse, which gives me major vibes of OKKO.
I heard somebody also compared to this cartoon, Pen's Zero Part-Time Hero.
But seriously though, how difficult is it to not resort to threatening or harassing people over a cartoon?
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys not learn from what happened with Mr. Enter, where he got major backlash for putting the writers of SpongeBob on blast?
Or really just anything that Mr. Horse does? Mr. Horse really loves threats, to use death threats or harm on people over it.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes to as well as the people who hate on Vivzy Pop, who harass or send death threats towards her and her crew. Grow up.
Mm-hmm. I
You
just
people
hope
are
that
you people
Vizzy
are
Pop
borderline
doesn't.
people are
Yeah.
borderline embarrassments.
I just hope Vizzy Pop doesn't it doesn't become a case like with where a documentary gets made, and I put documentary in quotation marks, like with what happened with George Lucas, where then it's just people bitching about something.
With that out of the way, we can finally move on to the last two. Remember the last episode.
Hmm.
Finally seeing this in a theater was definitely an experience, especially when a good chance of my theater was crowded. But I was thankfully lucky enough to able to get a last minute ticket.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this finale divided a lot of people,
Yeah.
which I guess was unexpected due to the leaks.
Mm-hmm.
But as you saw from two of our streams recently that we both loved this finale, yeah, we're in the love it side. As this finale was
Specifically, one thing that the Jax portion of this episode is just peak.
like,
Mm-hmm.
as we finally got the answer to why Jax is he is. And this has to do with toxic abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And he pushes people away because he thinks that that they're just going to turn on him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sadly how some people are in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we believe that someone's gonna turn on us, we just end up pushing us instead of trying to be better, we just end up pushing them away.
Mm-hmm.
Like I the Jax all of the Jax sequences probably end up being some of the best moments as of recent. Probably the best, or would be the best moment of the series if it weren't for its ending. Particularly when we get to, and this has been spoiled for months now, for at least for a month now, Jax abstracting.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when I first saw it, I at first thought that was dead. No, really. When I saw this in theaters, I actually thought Jax was dead.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure you guys thought that as well.
Right.
Right. Though Pomni ends up having to go into Jax's mind to see what's up. Yeah. And like we said in one of the previous streams, the Looney Tunes-esque sequence was just gold. Absolute peak.
As well as seeing all the Jacksons in Jax's mind.
Mm-hmm.
So this episode is both, it has more sad and tragic, but that's not to say it doesn't have its funny moments either.
Mm-hmm.
Like And this actually handles the themes of trauma very well. And of course, and there's other things to love about this finale. Like when we finally see the last scene of Pomni and Jax together.
Mm-hmm.
Like we actually see Jax crying.
Mm-hmm.
No joke. I almost cried while watching this episode because of how sad it was.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, Jax pushes Pomni away while she's ignoring him. Though this does need to be stated, Gooseworks did not create the concept of your life flashing before your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and that led to Jax abstracting, which while we do end up feeling sympathy for him, he also brought this on himself.
Mm-hmm.
I think even if you do feel sympathy for him, you also can't deny that Jax did bring this one on himself.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. He had every opportunity to connect with people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think looking at Jax's character, we love him for how much hilarious he is, but he's also a cautionary for most people.
Mm-hmm.
And how the cycle of abuse, and how the cycle of abuse can end up rubbing off on you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and instead of letting, and if you don't let people, and if you don't get help or don't let people, give you comfort, and if you just choose to push everyone away, well, you're just practically going to be left all alone with no one to care about you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we've seen plenty of abuse victims in cartoons up to this point. But I think Jax is the one that really hits a lot more, like, because if you don't let people, because if you don't try to actually have any real help, well, you're lost then. So it wasn't hard to see why his abstraction was inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
Which leads to the montage of all the Jax moments.
Mm-hmm.
Which plays the song from Stevie Wonder.
Yeah, it's also become a bit of a meme where people make written by Gooseworks videos.
Much like how that annoying if X was written by Vizzy Pop meme. Which that meme is stupid.
Yes, it is. For the record, the song is called "Isn't She Lovely," which I actually did end up listening to after I heard it on PADC.
Mm-hmm.
And that leads to probably the only criticism I can make against it. It's more so with Kane.
Yeah, I'll admit that I was a bit disappointed by the ending because of how rushed it felt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
good point.
I think that we have to rush everything, and that's not to say that his moment wasn't great, because I really did love the moment where he was trapped and was able to give people what they wanted for once.
Mm-hmm.
But I will admit his turnaround was definitely kind of rushed. I feel like they were a little too easily forgiven after what he'd done in the last episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that just leaves us with the last scene in the entire series.
Mm-hmm.
where we finally reveal all of the names of the TADC members.
Yeah, Pomni is named Abigail.
Yeah, get like the real names of all these characters. Like first, because like Pomni is Abigail Brooks in real life. Ragga is Susie J. Ackerman in real life. Gangle is Zoe Raghavan. Zubul is Riley Versailles. Kinger is Grant Best. And Jax is Leroy Mathieu, which they all have social platforms. And they all have real jobs.
Right.
And we even get to see a post-credit scene with all of them in real life, their real life counterparts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, and like I said, and the fact that seeing this in the theater really did help my experience with this series a lot more, because end of the screening, they were practically doing a code for get your like popcorn bucket today.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's how the Amazing Circus is going to be its legacy, regardless of how you feel about the content forms made about it.
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely one of the best independently made shows.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because and trust me, I don't think there's going to be any other series like The Amazing Digital Circus.
Mm-hmm.
And once again,
to emphasize this, guys, Gooseworks is not going to work on Digital Circus anymore. There are plenty of other shows that Glitch has in the works other than Digital Circus. You can just move on to those.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I'm hopefully I can get around to Murder Drones at some point, because I only watched the first episode, but after
The rest of
that,
the series is good too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm hoping to tackle the other Glitch shows that were made, and who knows? And I really hope for the best of what Glitch and Gooseworks have in store with their next show.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever Gooseworks has next in the pipeline for our own little cartoon, we'll definitely be there for it after seeing this.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And I can't wait to see what else that the Gaslight District, Knights of Guinevere, and especially Gameoverse has in store.
Mm-hmm.
It's and it really says a lot how much Glitch Productions came a long way from making stuff like just as simple as a bunch of just SMG4, which was basically a parody of pretty much any Nintendo character.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, guys. Oh, were you going to say something?
Like, you could definitely tell Glitch Productions came along from just simply SMG4 content, which is videos that not a lot of people would take seriously because they're more comedic, to making a bunch of independently made, creator-driven cartoons with a lot of meaning and lore.
Yeah. As I was about to say, guys, Gameoverse is not gooner bait. Characters wearing swimsuits has always existed in media in some form.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. And this emphasizes why I believe that SMG4 has always been better than SML, because SML refuses to evolve.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, they just keep on going the way of Butch Hartman and the Fairly Odd Parents.
And then the opposite happens.
and as you could tell, both their views and their fan base has stagnated very badly. And in the case of some of their fans, particularly the Jeffy fanboys, as well as some of the more infamous names from that community, like, of course, Ray Rance and the SMR, SML has practically just died at this point in terms of quality, or really just its current state. And that goes with it.
SML is basically to me, SML is basically the Fairly Odd Parents of online shows.
Except that would imply that it at least had that would imply that it had a new wish in their legacy.
Mm-hmm.
SML has proven that they. Oh, you gotta be kidding me! Yeah. So yeah.
Screw you, Logan.
So yeah. So to end this off, we wish the best of luck in what comes out of the works of Glitch and Gooseworks, as well as Dana Terrence and every other creator who works for a Glitch show.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully the next and I'm almost about to finish the Powerpuff Girls season 6. I'm currently starting on season 6, and I hope to plan to get around this week to finish. Yeah, because we're gonna end up covering that show.
Right.
Both the original series and unfortunately that god awful reboot that came.
Oh no! I'm thinking of the certain scene with the panda, which is as far as I'm going.
Yeah. And it doesn't even end at the panda. There's also the aforementioned Muscle Cup with Buttercup basically getting extremely fat.
Yes, and out of morbid curiosity, have you all seen everything from the Powerpuff Girls, including Powerpuff Girls Z and the movie and the 2 specials?
I'm not the most caught up with Powerpuff Girls, but I know enough to be a fan of sorts, I guess. But
all right,
plan to check out the series, for sure.
I've seen a few episodes. Yeah. I've seen a few episodes from the earlier seasons and a few from the Chris Savino era, which not a bright move to bring back Powerpuff Girls after the movie Cartoon Network, and I haven't seen Powerpuff Girls Z. Although I have watched all of Powerpuff Girls 2016 for my review on it.
I did see the Christmas special episode. Oh, and another thing, I find the spoof scene of that and the scene in Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy where they become the Powerpuff Girls. Scene is comedy gold.
This movie isn't stupid. You're stupid. Oh, why would you?
Why you gotta be like that, Billy? And of course, that line that Grimm said could sum up the CW Powerpuff Girls trailer. Okay, we keep flying. We never head back. We never talk about this again.
So yeah. So hopefully later in August, hopefully the Powerpuff Girls will probably be the next thing we talk about, because now that I'm almost about to finish the original series, no, I am not going to go back and watch the god awful reboot because that show is awful. And the fact that that's not even the worst cartoon I've ever seen in my life should tell you something.
Adult party cartoon. Sorry, I had a little bit of cough there.
Mm-hmm. So that out of the way, see you next time. Adios.
See ya.